My guest between periods is Dr. Ben Owens, who's the team physician for Hibbing High School. Dr. Owens, how many years have you been at Hibbing, assisting the teams?
How many years have I been? You don't like to think about that. I think it's 20 plus, we'll call it.
In the years that you've been as a team physician, how has the training, how has the medical practices changed as far as what they do nowadays compared to what they did, say, 20, 25 years ago, as far as injuries?
I don't think there's been too many dramatic changes, except that sports medicine, of course, has become much more popular. Everybody's much more conscious of things. I think the main thing that I see is that as soon as we get hurt, we want to get well. We want to be back in the game within a few days. So well, all the efforts are trained to try to make them get back in the game quicker, lose less time.
I would imagine the training procedures that everybody goes through nowadays is a lot more refined now than it was say 20, 25 years ago. So that
I think the training and the preconditioning and the realization they have to stay in shape all year long, so they're never really out of condition. Most of these high school boys, like these high school boys, are training year round.
I want to get your viewpoint on
injury.
I want to get your viewpoint on one thing, on weight training. From your viewpoint, from being a doctor, is it true, though, that a lot of the weight training on a smaller boned person is more harmful to him than on a larger boned person because you put more stress on the bones, so they're more easier for injury?
We've got some guidelines on there. We try to, look at the build, like you say, and the maturity of the boy, and certain things, exercises for the back and deep squats and lifting where they might hurt their back should not be done until they reach a certain age.
Do you have
15, 16, 17, where they're bigger.
Now, do you prepare for each, like say hockey, football, baseball, do you prepare a list of training for the teams?
We have done that. We're doing more of that.
And also getting in with the training, do you, as far as eating, do you try to get the teams to eat the right way and stay out of this junk food and, so they get more carbohydrates and proteins? Do you try to prescribe certain ways, certain meals for them to eat?
Yes, we do. I think the first thing, we try to get them to eat a real good breakfast. Then we try to get them to eat a good balanced diet of carbohydrates. And formerly the emphasis was on perhaps too much on meat and steaks and that before the games, and we've changed some of those things and so on.
What consists for the hockey players tonight to give them the extra oomph that they need? What kind of a meal would they have to have?
I smile to myself when I think of that, because one of the boys, we were checking them all a year ago, and he asked me what does he eat before a meal. We recommend they eat 3 hours before the game. The food should all be digested and go inside of them and be stored as glycogen, which turns into sugar. So they should eat a relatively high carbohydrate meal, like you suggested. Not a big steak before the game. 3 hours before the game. Well, this boy said he eats total cereal. Well, everybody laughed at that, but that probably is a good pre-game meal. His stomach is kind of nervous and tense. You can't digest a lot of steak and food. It stays in your intestines and your stomach. You can't perform well. Your blood is sluggish with fat and so on. So a carbohydrate meal, like that is a good meal.
When I was back in the days when I was in high school, and especially when we'd run track, our coach would tell us to, say half an hour to hour before an event we're running in, say we're running a dashes, he'd have us eat honey. Not the loose honey, like it was a hardened honey, to give us more energy. He felt that that energy, would give you the extra oomph. Whether it did or not, I don't know, but
a lot of the things that are psychological are good, but I think now the tendency is not to eat a lot of sugar before the meal, because then you get your body puts out more insulin and your sugar goes down actually before the meat.
Oh.
So we usually try to take it further away from the meal, from the meat, from the actual playing time. But those things, if you believe what he said, you do better. So sometimes they help.
Well, Dr. Owens, we've run out of time here. Our time is up. We've run out of time.
Right.
We might have to do this again, continue another period.
Right. Very
Thank you
good,
for being
very
up
good.
here.
Aye. How did that go?